What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Me TV Reviews. I am your host, Mo, and tonight, tonight we're going to be doing episode 2 of It. Welcome to Derry. Y'all, this is season 1, episode 2, titled The Thing in the Dark. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week, y'all. We made it to the weekend. Thank goodness. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead, get into the synopsis real quick, and then we're going to get right into the episode. So the synopsis for this one is Charlotte and Will navigate their new life at the town of Derry, and Ronnie worries about her father's fate. Now, disclaimer, y'all. I'm literally still in the process of watching this episode. So this is going to be definitely a scene for scene type of situation. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the bit that I've watched so far, and then we'll follow up with the rest in just a minute. All right, so this episode kicks off with the fallout from last night. Lily is having nightmares, y'all. Every time she closes her eyes, she sees poor little Teddy, Philly, and Susie. Y'all. It was so sad. Ronnie is trying to figure out how she's going to get her dad out of this situation because he might be framed for what happened to them. And the whole community is mourning them babies. Okay. Now, it's crazy because the episode started off with two cops sitting in the car. And apparently, they're talking about what's going on with what happened to the kids. And the one cop was doing like a whole Clue type of recap, but then the other cop was like, hey man, have some respect. My kid went to school with Phil. But then as soon as he said that, they turned around and started laughing about the fact that maybe Ronnie's dad ate the kids because there was a whole bunch of blood, but there were no bodies. I was like, now what the hell? Get it together, y'all. No bodies were ever found, but there was a ton of blood everywhere. Now, elsewhere, Major Hanlon's family finally arrives, and the house is definitely an upgrade for them. But the neighborhood is still pretty questionable because as they're looking out into the neighborhood, y'all, this little white lady is walking her dog, and they say hello to her, and she was like, snooty nose definitely up in the air. Hello. Neighborhood is still very questionable. The jury's still out. Are y'all the first black family on the block? And so he surprises his son, Will, with a telescope and makes a joke about spying on the neighbors, which that doesn't land well. But, at least it's a nice house. And his wife is just glad to be back in her man's arms. Okay. She loves her man, her man, her man. She hates when they're apart. So at school, I was about to call that girl Margot. It's Marge, y'all. I don't like her. Did I tell y'all that already in the last episode? I can't stand her. So Marge is still trying to find her place with the Regina George girls. Okay. Now they call her, I guess Marge's nickname for her is Patty Cakes, or it's Patty and the Patty Cakes. I don't know, y'all, but I don't like them girls. They some mean girls. So they're hounding one of the girls in the group about who her crush is. They're waiting on her to reveal the name, right? And so she's like, no, 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 I don't want to do it because I know y'all are just going to make fun of me. And so they was like, no, we're not. We swear. And so she's like, you promise? And she was like, cross my heart and hope to die. And as soon as she said that, y'all, the little girl said the boy's name. His name was Scotty. Y'all, they immediately started laughing at the little girl. Okay. And so the whole time Marge was trying to get the tea, like what was going on. She trying to be included so bad, but they weren't paying her no attention. They was paying her dust. And so while the girl started laughing, Marge took it upon herself to take the joke a little bit further and do an impersonation of Scotty to Snotty. Okay. So then it was funny for literally 5 seconds. And then Patty was like, girl, not too much. Okay, that's enough. Cut it out. So their attention turns to Ronnie because Ronnie is walking up to the school. Now, I forgot to tell y'all that in the midst of her worrying about what's going on with her dad, y'all, her dad and his mom, her grandmother, are still watching because the police have been hanging outside their apartment building since the kids showed up dead. Okay. So, he's telling her that they're going to do everything in their power to prove that he's guilty. They're not going to leave until they find whatever they need to try to pin this on him. So the whole time him and his mom are having this conversation, Ronnie, of course, is supposed to be in her room, not listening to them, but grown people talking, little kids gonna listen if they can. So, um, he, her grandmother had made the comment that she wanted Ronnie to go back to school. And so he was like, that's gonna be a hell no. Respectfully, mama, because no, what I'm not gonna do is knowingly send her to school, knowing that them people is trying to pin something on me, knowing that the whole town is probably looking at me for this, knowing that they're talking behind our backs and could possibly put my child's life in danger. No, I'm not doing that. Not doing it. So mama was like, well, you're not going to always be around to protect her, which I get that, but still, let's wait a little while. But anywho, Ronnie has decided to show back up to school because she is a brave little girl. So, um, she goes over there and she starts talking to Lily, and I was like, oh man, okay. So, of course, Marge sees this, and Lily ain't been really paying her no attention because y'all remember the whole bathroom scene when she was like, girl, we don't want to give them nothing else to talk about. And she was like, to talk about us or to talk about just me. And she couldn't say nothing on that because, oh, the little girl had farted. You you thought you was alone, huh? And so anyway, they get in class, and Marge is really trying to get what happened. Really, she's really trying to get what happened the other night out of Lily, and Lily is not going. So then she shifts gears and she's trying to say, oh, it seems like you've been avoiding me for the last couple of days. And she was basically telling her, girl, Teddy and Philly is dead. Okay. And so then she was like, well, I saw that you were talking to Ronnie. I mean, do you really want to be talking to her? I mean, we're really trying to turn your image around because they think that her dad has something to do with it. But I mean, if you want to be painted in a more positive light, you should sit with us at lunch. And she was like, girl, I don't give a damn about what you and Patty Cakes think. I could care less. Kids is dead. So Marge ain't got nothing to say on that. That shut her up real good. Thank you, Lily. Thank you. So just then the teacher starts teaching class, and Will comes in. Y'all, he was late for class, and he apologizes because this is his first day at school, okay? He don't know where he's supposed to be going. I tried to get the directions, but nobody will help me because he's probably the only black boy in school. Not the only black kid, but the only black boy in school. So, she was like, well, tardiness is not pleasing to me. So next time your grade will reflect your tardiness, okay? So he comes on in and he finna get ready to sit down, y'all. One of the little kids pulled his chair out from up under him when he was finna get ready to sit down. So he fell on the floor. So all the kids started laughing, and he spilled his school supplies all over the floor. One of the kids ended up picking up a pencil, and it seems like they might be friends later on. Okay. So while he's at school, Charlotte is going through town. Y'all, she is walking in these heels. These is not kitten heels either. These is like little 3 to 4 inch heels. And she parked her car like at one, it seemed like on one side of town, but then she done walked to the whole other side of town. She done got some flowers, and now she finna go pick up some roast to make for dinner. So she get in there, and the town has been, aside from, well, before all of this stuff started happening with the kids going missing, y'all, they had approved for a statue of Paul Bunyan to be put up. So that evil ass teacher is in there running her mouth about how much she hate that statue being put up. And so then the butcher, is making small talk with her. And he was like, well, just let the pigeons sort it out. Okay, the pigeon's going to be pooping all over the statue. I thought it was a cute joke. And so the lady went on her way. And so Charlotte comes up, and she's giving him her order, and he mentions how he had never seen her around before. And it's not to be rude or anything like that. It's just, everybody comes in here to get their meat from me. I just hadn't seen your face. And so as they're having conversation, y'all, she turns around because she sees some kids that she had passed earlier running towards her direction. So, y'all, this one little kid is getting beat up. And so she runs out there because everybody just looking, and she was like, ain't nobody else gonna say nothing. So she runs out there and she gets the other little boys up off of this boy. She back them up a little bit. And so then they looking at her, the rest of the people in the town square is looking at her. And so then this gives the little boy that's getting beat up enough time to go run off, which they take off after him shortly thereafter. But still, it gave him enough time to get away for a few seconds. But this has definitely caused some damage. You ain't even been here for 5 seconds and you already causing trouble, girl. So then at home, oh, well, before they get home for the night, Major Hanlon goes in to go see Colonel Fuller, right? And so when he's on his way in, the dude that wouldn't salute him the other day is walking out. So he goes in to talk to Colonel Fuller, and it turns out that same dude is one of the people that came in the other night and roughed him up real bad. Okay. And so he was like, yeah, he ain't really saying nothing too much right now, but I'll give him a little bit. But it'll be just a matter of time before he gives us the other two men that were involved. So, he tell him, we're not going to tolerate that crap up here. Okay. I mean, down in the South, I guess it's a lot more common, but we don't stand for that up here. I don't like that racism shit. And I was like, good for you, Colonel Fuller. I appreciate that. So they get home and they're talking. And I believe she was telling them about what happened to the little boy. And so then in the process, she pulled Will up out his seat and she goes to measure him. And they trying to make all this small talk. But then Major Hanlon ends up saying something to the effect of, well, you only been here for 2 seconds and you already causing trouble. So she was like, don't act like I'm the only reason that we moved here. Okay. We moved here because of your job, not because of whatever I might have said that caused somebody to get enraged. I think they said something about a brick being thrown through their car window in Shreveport. Yeah. So she was like, don't act like just because I said something or I stood up for myself that's the reason why we had to move. I'm going to speak up regardless because right is right and wrong is wrong. And when you wrong, I'm going to say something. Okay. Damn all that. So Will was like, hey man, can y'all stop fighting? And I thought it was so cute that they in synchronization told him, hey, no, we not fighting. We just talking. Okay. So he ended up asking to be excused from the table. He got up and gone and went on his way. Then we get this scary ass scene, y'all. Oh my goodness. I feel so bad for them babies. So Ronnie is in her bed and she's trying to get some sleep, y'all, when she hears her dad and her grandma arguing. And, they're just talking about what's going to happen to him. And the police is still sitting out there and they're really going to try to pin this on him. And y'all, she's trying to go to sleep and she just can't. She's too distracted by their argument. So she pulls the sheet over her head, y'all. Well, then she looks at her mom's picture. She looked at her mom's picture and she pulled the sheet over her head. Well, at this point, we start to hear a heart beating and we assume that it's Ronnie's, right? But then as the camera pulls back, we see that the mattress is doing the rhythm of the beating of the heart. So Ronnie notices this too, y'all, and she's trying to like pull the covers from over her head and she can't get them off. So then it turns into like this amniotic sac, y'all, to where she literally has to go through the birthing canal. It's like the birthing experience all over again, y'all. So she ends up pushing out and she's got all of this like ugh, it's just like placenta. Y'all, it's nasty. So she still got the umbilical cord tied to her, right? So then she looks up and her mom is there. And her mom is telling her that she literally ripped her apart. All she wanted to do was hold her baby. And in the process, Ronnie killed her during childbirth. Very upsetting. Not much has changed since, but here we are. So she's saying how Ronnie killed her during childbirth, and now she's going to do the same thing to her dad. They're going to fry him. And so she's trying to get away, right? Because the umbilical cord starts pulling her into like her mom's womb again. And y'all, the womb has turned into like some alien teeth type stuff, right? So it's just like chomping and she's getting closer and closer. So she, and all her black girl magic, y'all, the resilience that this baby got, she chewed through the umbilical cord and was able to like back up against the wall. It's eyes in the tunnel of the womb, y'all. When I tell y'all, I was like, Lord, please don't let them take Ronnie now. So she managed to get away and back up against the wall. Y'all, why did her whole bed turn into her mama coming up out that thing? It was like some exorcist type stuff. It was crazy. Crazy scary. And Ronnie been making all this noise the entire time trying to get away from her mama sucking her in the first time. And it took her damn near getting eaten, y'all, by her mama before her daddy and her grandmama came in. See, that's why y'all don't need to be arguing. You need to be paying attention to little Ronnie over there. So he comes in to console her, y'all, and of course, her room is just as normal as it was before she put her head up on them covers. So she is freaking out. Now the next day at school, Lily is finna get ready to get her something to eat, right? And Marge is trying to point her to the table because, again, she wants Lily to fit in just as much as she want to fit in with Patty and her minions. But Lily decides to go sit at the table by herself, okay, to Marge's dismay. So, anywho, they're over there talking, and then Ronnie comes in, and so now, again, their attention has turned towards them. I wonder what they're talking about. So, Marge, I don't know how many times I gotta say I don't like her. I just don't. Girls, y'all, kids are mean. So Marge was like, I don't know, they're probably planning their next murder, this, that, and the third. So then she starts doing all of these effects and jokes, and the girls are laughing. Everybody's laughing except for Patty because the attention is not on her. So then she says something really mean to Marge, talking about, isn't isn't this the second day that you've worn that sweater? I was like, really? That's it? That's all you got? That's a burn? So this shut Marge up though. Okay, whatever. I don't like her no way. So Patty decides to have them play patty cakes as Lily and Ronnie are talking. So Ronnie is telling Lily what happened last night and how she almost got by the monster. It came back again. And so she was like, hey girl, so what did you tell the police when you talked to them? And Lily was like, girl, I told them that your dad wasn't there. Like, he has an alibi. He didn't do what happened, but I told them I wasn't really quite sure what I saw. And so she's like, why wouldn't you tell them the truth? Like, why didn't you just tell them what you told me? And she was like, well, if I tell them what I told you, then they would send me away because Ronnie was like, my father's life is on the line based off of what you say. Like, that could exonerate him. And she was like, well, if I tell them what I told you, then I'm going to get sent away and I'm going to go back to the place where I hated. Do you understand what it was like in there? Talking about the mental health facility that she had to go to for a while. And so by this point, Ronnie done got pissed and she done stood up and said, girl, you want some BS. But by the time she said that, y'all, one of the teachers done came through that. And of course, when you cuss and everybody want to get quiet. So they done pulled Ronnie to the principal's office. Now in the hallway, Will is eating his lunch right all by his lonesome, and he's reading a book. And we see Rich, the boy who had picked up the pencil, right, in the classroom. So he's out there eating his lunch too, and he was like, "Hey man, you can't sit there because that seat's taken." Right? He did a cute little icebreaker, and this is how he opened up to Will. And so then Marge and the girls come through, and y'all, Rich is taken aback. He is in love with Marge for whatever reason, and y'all, as they they walk past them, the girl that's in the back, she end up flipping them the bird. They have some cute little scenes in this show. It's just like little moments of levity. So, um, like comedic relief. So then the rose colored love glasses are gone at this point, and they see this kid come in the hallway, right? And he's fidgeting with something. He ends up pulling like what looks to be like a half a stick of dynamite out of his pants. He lit it and he threw it, right? So then by this time, Rich had already peeped what was going on before old boy had even threw it, and was like, "Hey, so you might want to go ahead and get up and run," right? So Rich took off. He said, "I warned you, that was it." So Rich done took off, right? It took for the little boy to, well, the big boy, to roll the stick of dynamite down the hallway, and for it to start smoking out, for Will to get up and start running. I was like, "Oh no, So he was trying to get away, but it was getting real cloudy. Y'all, why did he end up running into his teacher? The one who called him out for being late. So y'all know he finna get in trouble too. Now over there at the bar, um, I don't know what his rank is. He's an airman though, but it's at the bar. It's these three black guys, and they're talking, right? They're laughing and kikiing and doing all the things, having a good old time. And it's Dick, Reggie, and I can't remember the other guy's name. I'm sorry, friends. So, but just know it's three of them, right? And they're talking about how two of them had gotten questioned like all day about their whereabouts for what happened with either the kids or what happened with Major Harlan, right? So then they look at him and look at Dick, and I was like, "Okay, well, how long was you in there for? How long did they question you for?" And he was like, "Questioned? I didn't get questioned." And so I was like, "Man, come up off of it. Yes, you did." And he was like, "No, I got special privileges. They didn't question me." So then they was like, "Oh, okay. I see what it is now. I see what it is now." While they're having the conversation, the chief from the police department rolls up, right, for a quick little drink, take the stress off his shoulders for the day. So he popped the cap on the beer, right? Start sipping his beer, and two men roll up on him. It's a councilman and somebody else. And so they're pressuring him to go ahead and arrest Ronnie's daddy. I mean, it's clear that he did it. And he was like, "Actually, it's not, because he had an alibi." He had a tight alibi, and the girl said that he wasn't there. Nobody could place him at the movie theater. So they just clearly want to pin this on him because he's black, and he works at the movie theater from time to time. So they just assume that it's him, but he was like, "Hey, this is America. Okay, we don't do that type of stuff." And I was like, "Are you sure?" But the councilman was like, "This is not America. This is Derry. And apparently Derry has a separate set of rules that they abide by. You take too long, you keep playing around and not arrest him, and we'll see where you land next voting season, next voting term." Threatening his job, y'all. What's a man to do? So just then, they leave, and he ends up whispering something to the bartender. And so the bartender make eye contact with Dick, and Dick was like, "Uh-oh, it's time to go. Let's go ahead and get up out of here." So as they're getting up, um, I think the bartender said something to it. Don't even matter. They left. So they get back to the base, and they're trying to get in, but the officer at the gate is telling them, hey, we gonna have to call the superiors up here because y'all done snuck off base and now you trying to get back in when you're not even supposed to be off base in the first place. It's on lockdown. So Dick was like, I got special privileges. And he was like, you, Blackie? That's what he wanted to say. But he didn't. He instead ended up calling the superior. And so he was like, yeah, just mention my name. So he does just that. And so we hear the sergeant on the other end of the phone talking about, you want to keep your job? Oh, okay, well, you just going to let them through then. See, I told you it had special privileges. And so the next day, Dick ain't feeling so good, okay? He got a hangover. And so he trying to he trying to drink some water, get himself hydrated and get himself back together. And the master, I don't know, y'all, I don't know these ranks. Sergeant, chief, colonel, lieutenant, I don't know. Dick's boss walks all the way over there and he was like, hey man, this is the fourth piece of land that we have dug in with no results. Now I don't know what they digging for, but apparently Dick is supposed to know what they digging for. He's got a hunch, right? But apparently it has not struck gold just yet. So he was like, look, we ain't gonna be doing this too much longer. Okay. Seems like you stretching out them special privileges a little too much. Okay. You need to get us some results or them special privileges is gonna be revoked. Sir, yes, sir. Okay. So as he was walking over there though, we did notice that it was a group of guys just kind of like looking from afar with their binoculars. So I don't know what that's about. Maybe they're trying to get some more info on what's going on the base. So Charlotte goes down to the same shop where Master Hanlon Leroy, that's his first name, where Leroy had bought the telescope for Will the other day. So she walks in as they're seemingly doing inventory or something like that. And she mentions how Leroy had came down there and bought the telescope the other day. Now, normally around this time they're closing up the shop for lunch, but she tells Char, go ahead and look around since you're a returning customer. Okay, cool. She also mentions how, her son is Will. And it seems like the way that she looked at her, I don't know if it was, I don't know what that look was. I don't know if it was disdain. Like, I don't know. We'll circle back. So we then go to Will and Ronnie being stuck in detention. Y'all, what didn't they write on that chalkboard? Did y'all see what was on that board? Clearly, no teachers are ever in here because what? Why would they leave all that stuff on the board? So, anywho, they're in there talking, and Will is reading his book, and so she comes over and she was like, yeah, that ain't a part of the syllabus. And he was like, well, maybe I got an old book. Oh, so now you're lying, huh? I never knew any kid that would lie about doing schoolwork just to be reading a boring ass book. So then he ends up telling her it's not really boring. As a matter of fact, he loves science. Okay, did you know, say for instance, that stink bomb, it was a stink bomb, y'all, it wasn't dynamite. And y'all, he is tearing Ronnie's nose up because he got all up in through that stink bomb. All the chemicals got on him. So he's telling her that some of the chemicals that are found in a stink bomb are similar to the gases that are found around Jupiter and Venus. I think that's what he said. Anywho, so maybe he was just covered in stardust. Okay, he seems like a really sweet kid. Ronnie's coming around to the idea that he's pretty nice. Very innocent and naive, if you will. So just as they're having this conversation, y'all, we hear some shouting going on outside. Y'all, the chief is bringing Lily in. Okay, making a public spectacle of all of this. So he brings her down to the police station, and I was like, where are her parents at? You're not supposed to be questioning no child like this without a parent or a guardian present. So he's talking to her and he's trying to double check yet again. Are you sure you didn't see Mr. Gorgon down there? And so she was like, I told you last time, no, I didn't see him. So then he threatens to send her back to Juniper Hills. That's the name of the mental health facility. Send her back to Juniper Hills if she doesn't say that Ronnie's dad was there. So he was like, you know what, I'm going to give you one more chance. I'm just going to reword this in a way to where the way you answer is going to allow me to go and arrest this man. And that's exactly what she does. And the next thing you know, we see them arresting Mr. Gorgon and dragging him to the back of the police car. Ronnie is so distraught, y'all. His mama is so upset. And this probably will be the last time that she sees her dad. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. So Ronnie takes off and she goes to go knock on Lily's door. It's late at night. I'm not sure how late, but it's late. So, Ronnie got her stink face on, and Lily's mama opens up the door and she was like, "What the hell are you doing here?" "Girl, you know exactly why I'm here. Where's your daughter at?" "Where's your lying ass daughter?" So she comes down the steps and she was like, "What did you say about my dad? What did you tell them?" So then Lily is like, "Well, he tricked me." Girl, in the opportunity for you to do the right thing. Now, granted, the chief is all the way wrong. Lily was in a tight spot, but I just feel like in the opportunity, you had the chance to do the right thing and you still didn't. They can only hold you in Juniper Hills for so long, but hell, with all this stuff happening with y'all seeing stuff and it coming back, yeah, no, I wouldn't want to go there neither, because ain't no guarantee you're gonna come back out. So she was like, "Well, he tricked me into saying that, this, that, and the third." And she was like, "I want to know what you said. Why'd you lie on my daddy?" So at this point, her mama threatens to call Ronnie's grandmother, and she closes the door in her face. She slammed the door in her face, y'all. What type of mama? You ain't got no sympathy for what's going on with this little girl. She is finna lose her father based off. Okay, yep. So she's hollering outside the door, y'all, and I just hope and pray that she make it back home safely, that she don't get caught in the crosswalks of trying to get back home. Now the next day, Leroy is walking the base, and he ends up going to go pay Masters, that's his last name, y'all, Masters, a visit in lockup. So we basically find out that Masters, there was no way that he was there the night that Leroy was assaulted, because based off the gun that was used that they found at the scene, or found on him, y'all, Masters does not have the bandwidth, the wherewithal to know how to even operate that one. Okay? He don't know how to operate that gun at all. You got to be really skilled to handle that gun. And not only that, but that gun is very rare in Western civilization. Usually you see that like in Korea and all of those places. You wouldn't see it in America. So the fact that it was there and you don't know how to handle it, yeah, it definitely wasn't you. I don't know what you getting up to, but that ain't this. So to further verify what he thinks is already going on, he makes a snide comment about Master's mama. So Master's immediately go for the gun that he done put out there, just saying, "Hey, the magazine is empty, this, that, and the third," but the gun ain't. So Masters immediately goes for the gun and try to shoot Leroy, but he can't even put it together. And he was like, "Yeah, see, that's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought." So he takes it on to General Shaw's office, and he was like, "Hey, man, listen, I don't like Masters at all. Is he racist? Hell yeah. But he's not the guy that was in my room the other night." So then this is when General Shaw decides to come clean and fess up to the fact that he wanted to test Leroy. See, they said that you had a brain injury, and I was just trying to see if you was going to do the right thing, and you surpassed all my expectations. You have exceeded them by leaps and bounds. Okay? This is why I need somebody like you. And so Leroy was like, man, I ain't got time for this. You done set me up for the kill. Okay? And he was like, look, you got every right to have them investigate me, but listen, I got something else that I need you to hear before you turn me in. I was like, what you got to say to this man? You don't let this man get beat up and you um gaslighting him and all of this just for you to try to get him to be a part of some secret mission that you got going on? Cut it out. So Lily is going to the store because her mama is working again. Okay, now apparently this is something that she does all the time because she knows the store manager very well, to the point where he tells her if she needs some help to let him know so she can get some assistance trying to get stuff off the top shelf, right? So she's in there and she's shopping, y'all, and the scenes with the kids are so daggone creepy. She's walking, and we notice that the shelves are falling into place to block her in more and more every time she turns the corner, along with a creepy ass man peeking around the corner. Y'all, that man was so creepy. So as she's walking, her biggest fear is what people think of her and how they perceive her, and they think that she's insane and all of these things, right? So it finally gets to a point where she makes it to the cereal aisle after they done called her name over the intercom. They've been doing like the shopper specials, right? The whole time, but then they finally call her name and she looks up and they told her something about going back to the insane asylum. So anyway, so where she's at, she's sort of kind of blocked in and she's in the cereal aisle. She sees Maddie on the cereal box along with Teddy and Phil and some other and Susie. Okay. So we know that this is where the hallucinations begin. So she tries to go back the opposite way, but instead it blocks her into, like, fully blocks her into the pickle aisle. Okay. Now, y'all remember how her daddy passed away. He was chopped up into all them small, tiny pieces at the factory. Well, now he's coming back to life in these pickle jars. Okay, so she grabs them and she starts to smash them. She smashes enough of them to the effect of him now regenerating like a octopus almost. And he climbs on top of her, and then like one of the tentacles reaches out and starts to like choke her from, like, it wraps around her neck and it starts to choke her. So she is screaming for bloody murder, y'all. And then all of a sudden we hear, Lily Bainbridge, what the hell are you doing? Or what the hell is wrong with you? Y'all, she comes back and everybody is just looking at her. So unfortunately, y'all, her mama decides to drop her back off at Juniper Hills. And she's begging her mama to, please, girl, don't do this to me. Please don't do this to me, mama, please. And her mama don't even look at her. I really do feel like her mama is so emotionally disconnected because she blames her for what happened to her husband, and probably for the fact that she now has to work. But this is your child. I just, it's very unfortunate. So she has to go back in here again, and we gonna see her struggle, y'all. I hope she make it out. So we head back over to General Shaw. And he done got Leroy off into the ATV with him, and they finally let us see what's behind the restricted area. Okay, so he's telling him that sometime within the past year, Cuba, the Cubans and the Soviets had a private meeting, and they have basically started working together to try to get nuclear missiles in. They're trying to get the nuclear missiles together if they need to strike. And if they do deem it necessary to strike, they're able to hit multiple major cities in a very short time span within minutes because Cuba is very close. So, to counteract what may or may not happen with them, they've decided to not find a missile. Rather, they find something that is far worse. Okay, something that is going to get into your psyche. And they believe that it is here in Derry. So he starts to explain that before they get to the major piece of it, it's somewhere underground, but before they get to the major piece of it, the major piece has barriers all around it. So they figure once they start to find the barriers, which Dick has been helping them try to locate, then they'll know that they're getting close. But it's supposed to be fear that is so paralyzing that it could kill you right on the spot. So just as he's explaining this information, y'all, we see Dick come up in the wings because apparently they found something. Dick gives Leroy a little wink like, hey man, I see you, you see me. We see each other. So they end up going out there to the spot where we saw them digging earlier. And y'all, they ended up excavating. Is that the word? Digging up, excavating. Give me. They ended up pulling up this antique looking car. Okay. When they pull it up, it's got all the slop, dirt, mud, all the things in it because it's pouring down raining. But not only does it have the mud and the earth in it, but it also has several bodies in the car as well. And Dick was like, see, I told you we was getting close. They're getting real close. And that's the way the episode ends, y'all. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I need to know what happened back in Shreveport. I hope that Ronnie and Lily make it out. I am really rooting for them. But that's it, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about it, okay? You can reach me at Me and You TV Reviews on Facebook and on Instagram. You can also reach me at My TV Reviews Podcast without the S on the end at gmail.com. What y'all think about those, the scare scenes with the kids? They are terrifying. Yeah, I'm gonna like this show. But yep, you guys know how to reach me. Y'all please stay safe out there. Enjoy your weekend. And until we meet over the airwaves again, I am Mo and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.